Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the game preview. Everton are back, football is back, the international break is over. We sat down yesterday and spoke about the international break and how for me it just feels like the longest international break ever. I don't know if anybody else has had that feeling, but it just feels like this one has gone on for absolutely ages and ages and ages. We only watched Everton, just under 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago tomorrow it'll be against Manchester United in what was an absolutely excellent performance, and a performance that should have seen Everton come away with all 3 points. However, all things considered, taking a point from Manchester United at Old Trafford is a really good result. But that game, for me anyway, just feels like it was about 6 months ago. I don't know why. I don't know why this international break all of a sudden felt much longer than any other one, but it just did. So it's over now, and thankfully Everton are back. Tough test on Sunday to jump straight back in to Premier League action. David Moyes' Everton side, Rafa Benitez has had his pre-game press conference today ahead of Sunday's game. We'll be going through some of the things that he spoke about in the press conference. He was asked about, how it feels to be, the Everton manager coming up against obviously David Moyes, who is the ex-Everton manager, and how it'll be, being in the dugout on the day, and Rafa Benitez being in the home end, and David Moyes being in the away end. And he said, look, obviously that's not what we're used to effectively, but, he's very happy at Everton Football Club. He thinks David Moyes is doing a good job, and he's here to do the best for Everton. So anything that's happened in the past basically doesn't matter. So we answered that question really, really well. But it will be a little bit sort of surreal, I suppose. Certainly given we had years and years and years of obviously, David Moyes managing Everton. Not so much Rafa Benitez managing, Liverpool, because again, we've gotten over that and we've moved on from that. But certainly David Moyes managing Everton, and it is always strange when he comes back to Goodison and he is in the sort of away end. I remember him coming back with Manchester United, and obviously it was quite a hostile atmosphere on that afternoon, and it was very, very strange to see David Moyes at the other side of that dugout. However, ultimately he's the manager of West Ham now and Everton are playing West Ham on Sunday, and therefore I hope David Moyes is extremely frustrated and upset come Sunday afternoon when he leaves Goodison Park, because hopefully Everton can turn up and get all 3 points. It will be a difficult game, of course it will be. West Ham United are a very good side, and David Moyes, to all his credit, has done absolutely brilliantly with them since joining back at the football club in, I think it was late 2019, early 2020. Obviously he had a spell at West Ham United before that. He left the football club, I think he was sacked, and then they brought him back at a time that they really needed some stabilisation. They'd had a new stadium, they'd spent a little bit of money on players, and it just wasn't quite working for them. They were still hovering around sort of mid-table. They were in Europe one year but didn't do well in it and got knocked out, and their league form, was drastically impacted by that, and they needed a manager to come in and, I suppose, put an identity back into the football club and, give the fans something to enjoy watching and football to get behind and to, to be able to rally behind. And that's exactly what David Moyes does. We know that. We've known that for years, since he, obviously he was the manager at Everton Football Club, but we also knew it, as much in the summer as well, when a lot of Evertonians were sort of advocating the return of David Moyes because of that, because Everton, people felt were in a very similar situation to what West Ham were in, and that we'd sort of lost our identity, spent a ridiculous amount of money on bang average players, not really gotten anywhere, and everyone was just a little bit confused as to what Everton were. And we looked at how well David Moyes had done at West Ham in the last 18 months of going in there and really establishing a style of football, a way of playing, a mentality and an intensity, a level of demand and a level of work rate from his players. And that's exactly what he did, and those West Ham players have reacted massively to that. Obviously, they had a great season last season, absolutely fantastic season, finishing 6th in the Premier League, and obviously finishing in the European place, playing European football, Europa League football, of course, now on a Thursday night. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts West Ham United throughout the course of the season. I know we're only a few games in, so it's still very early on to tell, but it will be interesting to see how playing European football and having to play twice a week impacts, their form and ultimately, I suppose, it impacts on their squad. If they got a big enough squad to be able to compete in Europe and compete in the Premier League. But one thing we do know from an Everton point of view is that it will be a difficult game on Sunday. It's bound to be a difficult game on Sunday. West Ham have got some good players, some really talented players, and some players that can harm Everton, and certainly, give Everton something to worry about if we're not at 110%. And they're also managed by a manager who knows Everton Football Club very, very well, but also knows how to come to grounds like Goodison Park and ultimately pick up results, and set his West Ham team up to frustrate Everton. Of course, as I said, ending or just before the international break, going off into the international break on a massive high, a 1-1 draw against Manchester United at Old Trafford. And as I've said previously, I said it when we spoke about the United game, and I've said it a couple of times since, I'm not usually a fan that gets overly excited about draws, no matter who they're against, whether they're against Man United, Man City, Liverpool. If it's a draw, I usually sit in and say, yeah, we got a point, not a bad result, but I'm not over the moon by it. However, that one against Manchester United a couple of weeks ago just feels a little bit different for me. I don't know if anybody agrees, but you might disagree. You might say, Cam, you're chatting absolute shite. It's just a point. That's all it is. But it just felt a bit different to me. We went into the game without Dominic Calvert-Lewin, without Richarlison, without Seamus Coleman. We had Solomon Rondon up front, who was absolutely shattered at the time and obviously not fully fit. And we turned up and we were much the better team for 90 minutes. And as I said, on the day, if we'd have had a full strength team, I think we'd have beaten Manchester United comfortably. And we still could have beaten them had a different decision being made in the last couple of minutes of the game, or Yerry Mina would have remained on side. So really proud and impressive performance last time out for Everton. Everton obviously currently sitting 5th in the Premier League on 14 points. West Ham 9th, they have got 11 points. So if they win on Sunday, which hopefully they don't, if they win on Sunday, they go level points with Everton. They've had 3 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses. Everton, of course, 1 loss, 2 draws and 4 wins. I believe the 2 draws coming against Man United and Leeds, 4 wins, Brighton, Burnley, Norwich and Southampton, and then of course the loss against Aston Villa. So again, West Ham themselves, as I said, 9th in the Premier League, 11 points. Played 7, won 3, drawn 3, lost 2. Beat Manchester United in the Carabao Cup last time out at Old Trafford, which was a really impressive result and performance for them. And ultimately are doing okay in Europe. Seem to be stabilising themselves in Europe. I think they beat Vienna last time out, Rapid Vienna 2-0. So they've had a decent start to the season, all things considered. I remember watching them early on in the season against Leicester, and they picked up a really big win in that game, albeit, okay, Leicester went down to 10 men and made it significantly easier for West Ham, but they were very cutthroat in that game, and by that what I mean is that when Leicester went down to 10 men, it wasn't like they were still struggling. It wasn't like they allowed Leicester to sort of stay in the game with that momentum or that extra bit of effort or that extra bit of fight. They just went out and completely blew them away and completely, knocked the game on the head. And it's very easy to sit here and go, yeah, Cam, but Leicester had 10 men, so that's you can't take that into consideration because Leicester had one less man, and that's fine and that's fair enough. But a lot of teams, there's a lot of games of football where opposition teams go down to 10 men and the side with 10 men still manages to hold out for a draw or still manages to get that bit of fight and go and get something out of the game. West Ham didn't allow Leicester to do that. Now granted, Leicester haven't had a great start to the season, but they're a very good side. I think they've finished 5th the last 2 seasons on the bounce. They pretty much seem, in my opinion, as the team that aren't quite as good as the top 4 but are better than everybody else below them. So that was a big result for West Ham. As I said, their last games, they lost to Brentford last time out 2-1 in the Premier League, which was a sort of, I don't want to say a shock because Brentford have had a relatively decent start to the season, but certainly a result that I don't think many West Ham fans would have seen coming. As I mentioned, beat Rapid Vienna just before that in the Europa League 2-0. Beat Leeds 2-1 away from home, which was a massive result just before that. Obviously, as I mentioned, beat Manchester United in the Carabao Cup in midweek, and then obviously lost to Manchester United before that 2-1 in that game where Mark Noble missed the penalty in the last second. Jesse Lingard only scored the winner in the 88th minute or something like that in that game. So again, they were quite unlucky to come away from Old Trafford with nothing out of there as well. So I've got no doubt that this will be a difficult game. I've got no doubt that Everton will have to be at their very best to beat West Ham. They're a team that I see in and around the same sort of position as Everton, and this is a similar conversation as to what we had before we played Aston Villa. I said this is going to be a real interesting game of football because this is the first time we've come up against an opposition who we would see as within and around the same level of us in regards to quality. Aston Villa will finish in and around the same position as Everton will at the end of the season, I believe, and I think West Ham in that conversation as well. I think West Ham will finish in and around the same area as Everton and Aston Villa this season. So it's another one of those tests. Now, as I said, we can take a lot of confidence from the game against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Absolutely fantastic performance and a really, really positive result. It's at Goodison Park, which is a massive difference to the Villa game as well. And as I've said before, without going back too much and talking about previous results, I don't particularly think the Aston Villa game was that bad, to be perfectly honest with you. I think we had a 10-minute spell where we just, we absolutely were wiped the floor with. However, for the first 50 minutes, considering we were playing with, again, various first teamers out injured, I thought we held our own really, really well. It was just that 10 minutes that, ran away from us, and then the game was beyond reach then. So, as I said, this will be undoubtedly a difficult game. However, I think the home advantage, being back at Goodison Park, and the feel-good factor about Everton at the moment is there. Rafa Benitez, I don't want to sit here and say fans have begun to like him or love him or use any of those words, and I don't think there's a need for those words. I don't think there's a need to sit here and go, we all love Rafa, we all this, that and the other. I think it's just a case of we're doing well at the moment and we're all happy with how we're doing, so let's carry this on. There's no need to be sitting there making up chants and saying we're the best team in the world. Let's just wait and see how we get, take every game by game, and let's see if we can continue this good run of form. It's almost like we're doing well, but let's just see how we go, rather than at this point last season when we were sitting here saying we're going to win the league with the best team in the world, because we know, that doesn't work. So I'm confident. I am confident it'll be a difficult game. I know it'll be a difficult game, of course it will be, but I'm confident that Everton will be able to go out and get a result. As I said, I think the home crowd, the home advantage will be massive for us, and I think Everton are playing some really good football at the minute. Rafa Benitez seems to be working his wonders in training with this squad, and not just in regards to the quality on the pitch, but the mentality as well. The mentality against Manchester United was unbelievable. I said it, after that game. It was almost like this squad understood that, right, we're not as good as these, so we've got to work 10 times harder than they have to work for us to even get something out of the game, and they were prepared to put that work in. And it's that type of mentality. It's hearing Rafa Benitez come out and talk about players like Anthony Gordon, as we mentioned yesterday, saying, look, it's no good me sitting here saying he's a first team player, because that opinion could change in 3 weeks time. It's up to him to get his head down, work hard, and show me why he's a first team player. And just Townsend coming out and saying he always wants us to improve, he's always demanding more. You're seeing training videos, training pictures constantly of the manager talking to players on the pitch. There was a video Everton released a couple of weeks ago, I think it was after the Norwich game, where we'd won 2-0, nice afternoon, good 3 points, but we didn't particularly perform well, I think it's fair to say. And on the video at the end of it, there's a 3-minute clip of Rafa Benitez talking to Luca Dean. You can see Luca Dean smiling at him as if to say, come on, we've just won a game of footy, let me go home, have a scran, put my feet up, watch a bit of telly with my family. But Rafa Benitez is there sort of telling him, no, we need to do this better, we need to do that better, that wasn't good enough, this wasn't good enough. And it seems to be rubbing off brilliantly on the on the squad so far at the moment. So let's talk about Everton's latest injury news then. I do want to talk about some of West Ham's key players and players to look out for that could potentially hurt Everton if we are not careful on Sunday. Of course, we'll do our predicted starting 11s, and of course we will be getting into the live comments as well. So if you're watching live, please do get your comments in. It only takes a second, and we'll be getting involved with as many of them as we possibly can. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching, by the way, and you're enjoying, hit that like button. If you could get the likes up, that would be absolutely stupendous. I love that word, stupendous. It's boss, isn't it? It'd be absolutely stupendous if we could get the likes up. So if you are watching and enjoying, please do hit that thumbs up button. So Rafa Benitez has had his pre-game press conference earlier today. We done a live stream yesterday talking about an update that Everton had issued regarding injury news. We spoke about Alex Iwobi, we spoke about Seamus Coleman, we spoke about Luca Dean. We also mentioned the fact that the club hadn't mentioned Richarlison or Dominic Calvert-Lewin in that report. They hadn't updated us on where those two players were up to, and they hadn't they hadn't included them in a report regarding injuries, which I felt was a bit strange. Rafa Benitez, as I said, has had this press conference today. He's spoken about Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin amongst other players, and regarding injuries, he has said that Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison are getting closer, but they still are not available for for Sunday's game. So that is an absolutely monumental blow for Everton. Of course, it is obviously the hope that we all had prior to 1:15 this afternoon when Rafa Benitez sat down and met the press was that at least Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be ready. You know, he's been out now for, 5-6 weeks. He was injured in the game against Brighton, didn't play against Burnley, and has been out ever since. And we were hoping that, you know, he'd gotten over that broken toe, he'd gotten over that thigh injury. We knew he was back in individual training before the game against Manchester United, and I think the hope was that these 2 weeks of the international break would have been enough time for Dom to get his head down, continue his rehabilitation and be available for for Sunday's game. That isn't the case, unfortunately. Dominic Calvert-Lewin still isn't ready. He's getting closer, according to the manager, but he isn't ready yet to start. And Richarlison was the same. Rafa Benitez said he's getting closer, but he is not ready. Again, bit more understandably with Richarlison, considering he's only just returned to training in regards to a ball at his feet on the field. So again, as I said, it's completely understandable as to why he won't be available for the game on Sunday. But Dom is a big disappointment. And obviously, somebody that I think a lot of Evertonians were sort of hoping and crossing their fingers would be fit for this game. Don't get me wrong, same with Richarlison as well. But I think there was more of an acceptance that Richarlison would be a massive doubt, whereas Dom, I think a lot of Blues, including myself, were sort of maybe hoping and expecting that he'd be available. He isn't available, neither's Richarlison. The manager said Luca Dean is fine, which is good. We know he sustained a hamstring injury, on international duty. He returned to USM Finch Farm and is fine. Seamus Coleman, fine, he's been working. And Alex Iwobi, I believe, has been working as well and is in contention of playing. Other injury updates and injury news: Andre Gomez and Fabian Delph are still out injured, and they will be unavailable for the game on Sunday as well. So obviously, massive blows. I mean, it was said, whatever it was, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's injury would be 2-3 weeks maybe. We're now double that, and he's still not available. Richarlison, a couple of weeks, he's still not available. So again, we're going into this game on the back foot. We're going into this game with a weakened squad, to put it kindly. And it's going to be an even bigger test than what it would have been had we have had those players fit. Rafa Benitez also spoke about Yerry Mina. Yerry Mina did complete 100 minutes for Colombia last night. Yerry Mina completed 100 minutes for Colombia last night in their World Cup qualifying game against Ecuador. It ended in a draw. Yerry Mina did score a 100th minute winner. However, it was ruled out for VAR. So it's not even like he got his elation and happiness of scoring a winner after playing 100 minutes of football and then probably needing to be fit to play another 90 minutes on Sunday. He didn't even get to score the winner that got disallowed by VAR. So, we sat here yesterday and said that the hope would be that Yerry Mina maybe doesn't play the entire game for Colombia. The hope would be that Yerry Mina maybe gets a bit of a rest or comes off or doesn't start. He started the game and played 100 minutes. So Rafa Benitez said that he's travelling back. He hopes that he'll be back, or he should be back in the country over the next day or so, and then we'll wait and see what he is, what his situation is. When he returns. Rafa Benitez did say that he hopes he'll be available for Sunday's game, but we'll wait and see as to when he returns to USM Finch Farm what his condition is. So again, not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. Not ideal in regards to Yerry Mina. Not ideal in regards to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Just makes this game a little bit harder. As I said, West Ham United are a side, with the likes of Mikel Antonio, who obviously is a massive threat going forward. Thomas Souček, who's a really big physical presence. You've obviously got Yarmolenko, Jarrett Bowen, good, quick, skillful players. Nicola Vlasic, who of course we know oh so well. But specifically for me, it's Souček and Antonio, who were the sort of, I suppose, the powerhouses in that West Ham attacking line. They're the two, the goal scorers effectively. I know they have other players that chip in with goals, but they're the two main sources of goals. But they're also physical players. They're also players that are up for a scrap, up for a battle, up for, getting involved in the physical side of the game. And I can't stress enough how important Yerry Mina is to this Everton side for that purpose of being able to deal with players like that. I'm not 100% confident, and I'm not trying to be negative here by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not 100% confident that we have any other defender at the football club that can deal with those types of players, big physical Premier League players that get, rough you up and get you involved. Yerry Mina is perfect at doing that. So if Yerry is to be missed on Sunday, he will be a massive miss. I'm sure that he'll be involved in some form if he's not nursing an injury. Whether he's fit enough to start the game is a completely different argument. And ultimately a completely different discussion. But let's just hope that Yerry is. Let's just hope that we're sitting here on Sunday afternoon and Yerry Mina is more than fit enough to start the game, and he is in that starting 11. In regards to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, as I've said previously, massive misses. Look, there's no doubting or questioning that these two are Everton's best forward players. Certainly, you know, the players that I think we rely on the most, and have done for a number of years now for goals and for creativity and for assists and stuff like that. So they will of course be a massive miss. You might say, yeah, but we'll be used to it because, you know, they've been out for so long. But ultimately, as I said, you know, it's never a good thing to be without your two best, you know, forward players and arguably your two best players in the club. I know you've obviously got Andros Townsend, who started well, Alan, Decore, etc. But again, this so vital, is so important to this Everton team that they will be a massive miss. So Rafa Benitez is going to have to put up with those injuries. I dare say we'll see Solomon Rondon. He did talk about Solomon Rondon yesterday and said that he's been in training. He's been training every day. He's been scoring goals in training every day. So he is in a much better condition than he was before the international break, which is a positive because he needs to be effectively, because he wasn't offering much before the international break, let's be honest. Albeit I know he's only just come in and he's had 4 months out and blah blah blah, but doesn't matter. Don't care if he's had 12 months out. I'm not going to sit here and say he's alright because he's had 12 months out. He's not offering much. He needs to offer more. So yeah, again, as I said before, makes a difficult game much more difficult against a really tough side to come up against. West Ham, of course, we know they've got a lot of quality in abundance. They've got the likes of Declan Rice in the centre of midfield, who I think is a very good player. Impressed in the Europa League a couple of weeks ago when they played there, scored in that game, and he scored in the Premier League game before it as well, to be honest. Mikel Antonio, who as I said before, big physical presence, a centre forward who has had a really good start to the season so far, can score goals, can bully defenders, can use his weight, can use his strength, and also his pace as well. He's actually really quick, and it's going to be a massive test this weekend for whoever it is that plays at centre back. Whether it is even Yerry Mina, I'm not going to sit here and say if Yerry Mina plays, you know, Antonio won't get anywhere near the ball. It will be a massively difficult test for Yerry Mina as well if he plays. But whoever plays as you know, next to Yerry Mina or instead of Yerry Mina, if he isn't deemed fit, is going to have a really difficult afternoon on Sunday dealing with Mikel Antonio, his physicality, his speed, and also let's not disrespect his goal scoring ability as well. This lad can score goals. He's done it for years. I think the only thing that has maybe stopped him from maybe getting that respect you would maybe assume he should, or maybe probably deserves, is his injuries. He's had a lot of injuries over the years that have kept him out there for me, and he's been quite inconsistent. But in terms of his ability, his physicality, I think he's a real handful, and it's going to be a difficult test for Everton to be able to put up with that. So I think, as I said, whoever it may be, whether it's Michael Keane, Ben Godfrey, Mason Holgate, Yerry Mina in that centre-back partnership, they've got to be at the top of their game. They've absolutely got to be performing to their best level to be able to deal with the likes of Mikel Antonio. Thomas Tuchel as well, who obviously scored the winner against Everton at Goodison Park last season. Again, really good physical player. Reminds me a lot of Marouane Fellaini, which isn't ironic in the slightest, because it's obvious that, you know, David Moyes enjoyed this time with Marouane Fellaini at Everton so much. Not only did he bring him to Manchester United, but he's gone to try and sign a fella that plays exactly like him for West Ham. Again, big physical player, not afraid to get involved in the physical side of the game, whether it be in the air, on the floor, puts his weight about, but also technically can score goals, can score with his head, can score with his feet, can move the ball around well as well. Obviously they've got Nicola Vlasic, who of course come in the summer for a big money move. I think West Ham would have been aiming to bring back Jesse Lingard, who of course had a very successful loan spell for them towards the back end of last season after joining on loan from Manchester United. They weren't able to make that deal happen, so they brought in former Everton player Nicola Vlasic, of course, come in. Again, as I said, for me, I like Nicola Vlasic. I like them at Everton. I think technically he's a good footballer. I still have questions as to whether or not he's quick enough for this league, and I'm saying that 3 days before he plays Everton, hoping that he doesn't show his pace on Sunday. But in terms of his technical ability, I don't think there's any question about it. He's technically a very good footballer, can score goals, can create chances. Again, had a good start to his West Ham career, watched them in the Europa League a couple of weeks ago when he was involved in goals. He was making nice runs and movement. So they've certainly got a whole load of players at their disposal that could cause Everton troubles on Sunday. Like I said before, our centre backs have to be at the very, very height of their game on Sunday. They've got to perform. No stupid mistakes, no allowing West Ham to get into the game, no gifting them goals or gifting them opportunities. It's got to be 110% on Sunday, because this is a West Ham team that have got the quality to hurt us. Midfield as well, I think the midfield battle is really, really important. As I said, Souček in the middle of that park is and Declan Rice are both sort of demanding players. They're both big, physical, 6 foot plus players who often in games of football, whether it be in the Premier League or in Europe or in the cup competitions, they like to sort of control that midfield. They like to use their size and their physical presence to dominate other teams and to dominate opposition midfielders and opposition players. And it's vitally important for me on Sunday that Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alan don't allow that to happen. We sat here the other day and spoke about the importance of Abdoulaye Doucouré and how brilliant he's been at the start of this Premier League season. So it's absolutely vital that in this game on Sunday, the pair of them work as a partnership and stop Declan Rice from creating. If you nullify Declan Rice, I think you nullify a large part of David Moyes' plan at West Ham. I think you nullify a large area of their game that they ultimately use to exploit opposition teams. If you could keep Declan Rice at bay, if you can keep him quiet, if you can frustrate him, if you can win the physical battle against him, if you can be in his head, if you can get it, if you can basically win that midfield battle, as I said, with Declan Rice, I think you massively increase your chances of being able to perform against this West Ham United side, because a lot of their play goes through Declan Rice. A lot of it is fed through him as a centre midfielder. Same with Souček. If you can win the physical battle against Souček, if you can never give him a minute with the ball at his feet, if you can win every ball in the air against him, if you can frustrate him, if you can get involved in the physical battle with him, then I think, again, you massively increase your chances of getting something out of this game, because those two players are so vitally important to this West Ham side, and they're vitally important in getting the ball to Antonio as well. Obviously, it goes without saying, we're going to have to be able to win the battle against Antonio, but that midfield is so vital, so vital at the weekend. I don't particularly think we'll have much problem creating chances. I think Damari Gray and Anders Townsend should be good enough to exploit that West Ham defence. Don't get me wrong, they've got a relatively decent defence, obviously added to it in the summer by bringing in Kurt Zouma, which was a really good signing, another ex-Everton player, of course. But I still, as much as I like Kurt Zouma, I think he's a good player, I still don't think he's, absolutely one of the best defenders in the world. So he's definitely, there's definitely sort of areas in his game to exploit. And I think Damari Gray and Anders Townsend, certainly in the form that they're in, could cause West Ham some big issues, and hopefully will cause West Ham some big issues. It's just about winning that midfield battle and ultimately being able to keep the likes of Antonio and Souček at bay. Anyway, let's get into the live comments before we go into doing my predicted starting 11. If you're enjoying this, by the way, so far, please hit that thumbs up button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. That would be absolutely brilliant. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you're watching live, then leave your thoughts in the live comments and we'll get involved with as many of them as possible. Dark Art says, alright Cam, gutted DCL and Richarlison are still out though. Alright my mate, yeah, me too. It's not ideal in the slightest, is it? It's really not ideal, but there's not an awful lot we can do about it. There's not an awful lot we can do. Same old Everton says, hello Cameron, how are you? I'm not too bad, my mate. Hope you're doing well yourself. I'm not too bad. I'm potting along, as they say, potting along. Stevie Lamb, what's happening? Stevie says, alright young Cam, come on the Blues, another home win for us. Let's hope so, Steve. Let's hope so. Katie says, totally agree, Cam. When they sub out Cavani for Ronaldo and we still take a point off them, that's an accomplishment to me. When they sub out Cavani for Ronaldo and we still sit here an hour after the game saying, how haven't we won that game? That shows how well we play. But of course, the media won't portray it like that. The media will portray it as, look how bad Man United were, they were awful, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs sacking. Why can't anybody just turn around and go, actually, Everton were boss today? Damien says, right Cam, hope you're well, hoping for the big 3 points. Think it would make a big statement, come on you Blues. Me too, Damien, me too. He also says there's a lot of talk about Davis with the United game where he could have won it, but there was also another instance, a foul on Gray in the box, which should have been a pen, but nothing mentioned on that. Yeah, again, exactly, Man United getting away with those those types of challenges. The types of challenges that if it was the other end of the pitch in the other box, they'd almost certainly be given a penalty for it. But no, I agree. Look, we spoke about the Davis situation a couple of weeks ago when it happened, and I don't think there's much to say on it, to be perfectly honest with you. But no, I agree. Vlasic says, delighted with Rafa's press conference. The Newcastle honest and straight, to the point. And a man of his word. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Brilliant answer with the Newcastle stuff, by the way. Don't quite know why he was asked the question, because I think it's a ridiculous question to ask a manager. But brilliant answer. Rafa, basically was asked about the Newcastle interest and whether he was ever interested in going, and he basically said, no, I'm 100% committed to Everton. I gave the board my word when I come here. I'm happy here and I'm focused here, and I don't want to move on. But he wishes Newcastle the best, which was exactly the type of answer we could have hoped for. We will see the best of us January plus, says Lavavid. Yeah, fair enough. Damien says, sick of hearing the links to Ramsey. If we swap him for Alan, it just proves we haven't learned anything. Hope it doesn't happen. I don't think we'll swap him for Alan. To be fair, Alan is, for me, a better player, but some would disagree. Lava says, no worries after Spirit, after the Man United game. Yeah, Peter says, West Ham are Burnley on steroids. Damien says, Moyes had them playing really well. It'd be a good test to these players to show they are turning a corner and earning the shirt. Yeah, I agree. Ollie says, disappointing about Richie and DCL. I would want to see... And I would want to see anyone like Dobbin to see, rather than... Well, Lewis Dobbin might be on the bench. He might be involved in some form, but he's not going to start. He's not going to start on Sunday. He's far too raw, inexperienced. And I know you can say can, but how do these players get experience? How do these players gain experience without playing? And I get that completely, but I just don't see Rafa Benitez starting Lewis Dobbin on Sunday. I just don't see it. Lavit says, would you be tempted to play Davis just for the kick-ass sake? There's a point there, but not for me. Not for me. We'll go through my predicted starting 11 in a moment, and Tom isn't in there. Anyway, look, we'll leave the live comments for a minute. We will get back into them a little bit later on in these streams, so if you're watching live, do still get your live comments in. If you're enjoying it, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and all of that. Let's get into my predicted starting 11 then, without further ado. We may as well stop messing around. Obviously, the international break is over. We know Jordan Pickford went away with England and has since returned to USM Finch Farm. After his trip away with England, we know Luca Dean went away with France, obviously picked up that injury, come back to USM Finch Farm and is now okay. And I don't think many other players went away. Obviously, Yerry Mina, we've just spoken about, is still on his way back from Colombia. And I think the majority of other players stayed put, to be perfectly honest with you. I think the majority of other players stayed in the city and in training. So, again... Good news that, a lot of the players got to rest up and work hard and work at USM Finch Farm with the manager in preparation for this game. I'm going for then Jordan Pickford in goal. Again, pretty self-explanatory at this point. I didn't watch either of England's games last week. I believe Jordan started the second game. Can't remember who he played. Again, I didn't watch it, so I can't tell you if he played well or if he didn't play well. What I've gauged is that he didn't really have to do anything. So, look, again... There was never going to be any doubt about this. Asmir Begovic is a decent backup goalkeeper, but he is, at that, a backup goalkeeper. So Jordan Pickford starts in goal. I have gone with Luca Dean at left back. Obviously, we knew that he returned early from international duty after picking up a hamstring injury with France. The manager has said today that he's fine and available to play. It was only a minor injury, and he has recovered and recuperated well since returning to USM Finch Farm earlier last week. That's a positive, I suppose, that Luca come back sort of straight away and was straight back into the rehabilitation side and trying to shake off that injury. Pardon me, by the way. And obviously, as the manager has said today, he is absolutely fine to start. Not like we've got any other option anyway to be able to go, well, we'll just give him a little bit of a rest because we've got this lad coming through. We ain't got any other left back. So Luca Dean starts at left back for me. I've actually gone with Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey at centre back. Now, this obviously all depends on Yerry Mina and Yerry Mina's availability ultimately. If Yerry Mina's available, if Yerry Mina comes home and flies home and lands in the country today and meets up with the manager and says, look, I'm absolutely fine. I played 100 minutes the other day. No injuries, no problems. I'll train on Saturday, but I'm absolutely fine and I want to play. Then I'd be more than happy for Yerry Mina to start, and I would want Yerry Mina to start. My biggest worry with that is that, yeah, he might feel okay. He might think he's okay. He might think he's fit enough to start or he's ready to start. But what happens if he starts and his body doesn't sort of, his body isn't working on the same, sort of hymn sheet as his mind effectively, and he ends up picking up a slight injury, or he gets a knock, or he feels fatigue, or something happens where he's kept out for a longer period of time. Then I think looking at the situation, it's difficult because Yerry Mina is so important, and for me he's our best centre-half, and he should be the number one centre-half, and if he's fit, I want him in the team. If he's fit, I want him starting, I want him playing. But I also understand that because he's literally just played a game of football last night, in fact early hours of this morning, and the game is on Sunday, which is in 48 hours time, less than 48 hours time, will the manager look at it and go, well, okay, do you know what, we'll rest you for this game, and in order to avoid any possible chance of picking up any injury or any sort of fitness problem, and then obviously you go again next week. I don't know, maybe Rafa will again. Aquista says, yeah, Rafa said that Mina just needs to do a fitness test, see if he's good to go. He just needs to be tested and see how he is, and maybe the manager will just take that at face value. He's had a test, he's fine, he's starting, but it's an interesting topic. I don't know. It could go either way. He could be fit enough to start. He could be only fit enough to be on the bench. And if he is only fit enough to be on the bench, I don't think any of us will will be particularly surprised. So I've gone on the assumption that he mightn't be fit enough. If he is, great. If he isn't, I've gone with the assumption that it is Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey. If he is fit, I would have I'd have probably, I don't know. I'll probably have Ben Godfrey and Yerry Mina if Yerry Mina's fit. But again, let's say that in this scenario he isn't fit. I've gone with Ben Godfrey and Michael Keane. Michael Keane, I think, has done well in recent weeks. Obviously he hasn't had the greatest start to the season. There's been a couple of times where he's made silly mistakes. He's gifted goals away. He's gifted opportunities to, pardon me, tickly throat. He's gifted opportunities to opposition sides. However, I think more so in recent weeks, he's done a lot better. He's performed a lot better. He certainly seemed a lot more confident next to Yerry Mina. He certainly seemed a lot more assured. His play has been generally a lot better. So again, I think he deserves a start. And then Ben Godfrey, as I said, who's filled in at right back over the last couple of weeks in the absence of Seamus Coleman, still wasn't at 100% fit while he was filling in at right back. Let's hope that the games that he's played recently and also the last 2 weeks or so at USM Finch Farm, will ensure that his fitness is at a much higher level than it was prior to the international break. And let's hope that he's ready to go at centre back, because I think his performances last season more often than not were absolutely fantastic, and I think there's definitely a top player in there with Ben Godfrey, and it'd be a shame for him to be sitting on the bench ultimately. So I've gone with Ben Godfrey and Michael Keane at centre back. I've gone with Seamus Coleman at right back. Obviously, it'll be a big plus to have Seamus Coleman back. The only natural right back of the club. Obviously, we've got John Joe Kenny, but it's very clear that the manager doesn't believe John Joe Kenny is good enough. Captain of the football club, which is a big plus as well. And it'll just be great to have somebody of, as I said, Seamus's experience, Seamus's leadership, and quality as well. I think Seamus Coleman's had a really, really good start to the season in regards to his quality. So it'd be brilliant to have him back in the starting 11. So that is the back line. I've gone with Jordan Pickford, Luca Dean, Michael Keane, Ben Godfrey, and Seamus Coleman. In the middle of the park, I've gone for Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alan. To be honest, I don't think this partnership needs any explanation. I think the pair of them have been absolutely fantastic so far this season. Abdoulaye Doucouré has been amazing in this new sort of box-to-box role where he's been allowed to get forward and create chances and score goals and ultimately help the team out in that way, getting assists. But I also think Alan has gone a little bit under the radar, really. I think Alan has had a really, really good start to the season. Maybe again, as I said, because of the performances of Yerry Mina, of Abdoulaye Doucouré, Van der Townsend, Damari Gray, maybe Alan's performances have gone a little bit under the radar, but I actually think he's had a really good start to the season. I think he's been physical. I think he showed his pace on a number of occasions, kept up with Max Aarons, who's against Norwich a couple of weeks ago, who isn't a slow player by any stretch of the imagination. Done brilliantly against Manchester United in the centre of that midfield, won that midfield battle, and I think the pair of them have got a real good partnership now. A partnership that works in every department for Everton. Defensively it works, but also going forward it works as well with Abdoulaye Doucouré's sort of new sense of attacking style. So Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alan play in the midfield. The front sort of, I suppose, four in any I'm not quite sure what formation I'll go with, to be honest. Whether I'll go with a 4-4-2, whether I'll go with a 4-2-1-3, 4-2-3-1. I'm not really too sure, but I am going with the Marty Gray on the left-hand side or the centre. I'm going with Andros Townsend on the right, Anthony Gordon in there, and then Solomon Rondon as well. Obviously, we know Alex Iwobi will have returned to fitness after his injury, and he is in, obviously, massive contention of starting on Sunday. However, I just feel Anthony Gordon was brilliant against Manchester United. I thought his performance was fantastic, not only on the ball and in creating chances, but I thought his work rate was fantastic. I thought his physicality was great. Thought he really done himself massive positives against Manchester United a couple of weeks ago. He showed the manager that he's not only a player that'll stand around and wait for the ball, and when the ball comes to him there's an opportunity for him to do something, but he's a player that is willing to get involved in the physical side of the game, is willing to battle, is willing to work hard, is willing to go and win the ball back. And I think you have to reward those types of performances with starch. You have to reward those types of performances with positives. And I think for Anthony Gordon to have played the way he did against Manchester United and then come out the team, for Alex Iwobi, who has had a alright start to the season, he hasn't been unbelievable, but he's been alright, I think would be disappointing. Certainly given Alex Iwobi's been out injured for a couple of weeks and obviously won't be 110% fit. So for me, I think Anthony Gordon deserves to start this game. It's not like we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin back or Richarlison back and we're saying, do you know what, there's no room for Anthony Gordon. There very much is a space for Anthony Gordon, and I would like to see him start this one. Certainly at Goodison against West Ham on a decent side, but obviously a side that aren't as much of a threat as Manchester United, and just see how we can perform, see how we can cope, see how we can deal with that. I just think it would be fair for him to start. So I'm going with Anthony Gordon in there, and of course, as I said, the front three pretty much remained the same. Andros Townsend on the on the right hand side. Excellent performance against Manchester United last time out. Really good goal as well. He's had an unbelievable start to the season, Andros Townsend, and we can only hope that continues. We can only hope that we can carry on that on Sunday. The Marty Gray on the on the other side, who's also had an absolutely unbelievable start to the season. Again, let's hope he can get back amongst the goals himself on Sunday. And then Solomon Rondon up front, who hasn't been great. Granted, there's been massively unfit, and obviously, we know isn't necessarily technically the best footballer in the world. However, the manager spoke about him yesterday and said he's had, he's been training every day, he's been working hard, he's been scoring goals in training, he's been getting involved in the sessions as well, working really hard. So for me, again, look, there's no Dominic Calvert-Lewin, there's no Richarlison. I know some people are talking about Lewis Dobbin. I know some people are talking about, maybe Ellis Sims. Ellis Sims is injured as well at the moment, I believe, or at least he was before the international break. And Lewis Dobbin, listen, I like the lad. I think in the youth team, the under 23s, under 18s, he's looked absolutely unbelievable. But is a massive jump between being able to do that in the young teams, and the under 23s, under 18s, etc., and then doing it in the Premier League. And I think it's good for Lewis Dobbin at the moment to be in and around the squad, in and around the team, and coming off the bench as a substitute, being involved in that sense. I'm not sure whether he's particularly ready to start as a first teamer yet. I think Anthony Gordon is ahead of him in that level of development. So yeah, there you go. That is my predicted starting 11. Let us know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below. If you're watching live, get your thoughts in the live comments before we finish up, and we'll get involved with as many of them. And if you're enjoying, please hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe as well. That would be absolutely brilliant. Where are we? A quiz that says we can take Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin out the team, but we cannot take Decore out the team. If Decore was injured all this time, I reckon we could drop some more points. I would agree, mate. That's why we've done the live stream the other day about Abdoulaye Decore's importance. I would agree. Damien says Pickford, Coleman, Mina, Godfrey, Dean, Alan, Decore, Townsend, Gray, Dobbin, Rondon, my starting 11. Interesting. The quiz that says, yeah, Rafa said about Mina. We read that one. Philip says, hey, all DCL still out. He is. Rafa Benitez has said that Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison are improving. They're getting better. They're getting closer. But they're still not ready for Sunday's game, unfortunately. Katie says that in the comments. Is right, Katie. A quiz that says Gomez and Delph 2. Philip says Ty, Anzos and Damari will do the business. Let's hope so. Katie says, sometimes I forget Delph is still part of our squad. Me too. Chris says Gordon worked hard. He won the ball back plenty of times against United. He did. I thought he was brilliant against United. Damien says change Dobbin for Gordon. I personally wouldn't, but there you go. Katie says, agree the Chris there. It always looks like he plays for the shirt and wants to prove himself. Yeah, spot on. Gordon's doing great, says Philip. And Peter says, Rondon's first goal is coming on Sunday. And a Chris there, I'm not going to talk about it. So, yeah, I appreciate that you said, about not sure, but I'm not going to talk about it. Look, again, as you said, Peter, let's hope Solomon Rondon's first goal is coming on Sunday. But there you go. I think that's pretty much about it for this one. It's going to be a difficult game on Sunday, of course it will be. Back after the international break is always a little bit difficult to get back into that rhythm. And to find that, ultimately, that consistency, and to find that, I suppose, momentum that you had before the international break. We come off, we went into the international break off the back of a massive result against Manchester United and a really good performance, and let's hope we can emulate that performance on Sunday and hopefully this time come away with all 3 points. It'll be difficult. David Moyes knows how to set his teams up, knows how to frustrate opposition, and knows how to get wins and points in games that he probably shouldn't get points in. His teams work really, really hard. They battle for each other. They fight for each other. And that's another thing Everton are going to have to bring. Everton are going to have to give it 110% on Sunday, because West Ham will give it 110%. And, West Ham have already got good quality players to hurt Everton anyway. But if we don't give it 110%, I think it'll be really difficult to get something out of that game. If we do, and we match their level, and if not even, improve on their level, then I think we can win this game. I really, really do. Anyway, that is going to do it for this one. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. A massive thank you to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. Really, really do appreciate it. If you're watching this as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we will get involved with as many of them as we possibly can as well. If you've enjoyed it, please hit that big thumbs up button. We will be back on Sunday with the instant match reaction and the player rating, so look out for those straight after the game. And then, of course, Monday we'll have the game review and all of that good stuff as well. Peter says, cheers, Cam. Nice one, mate. Thank you very much, Peter. Really appreciate it. Massive thank you to everybody for watching. As I said, hit the like if you've enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But other than that, up the Toffees. Come on, massive game on Sunday. Let's get all 3 points. Aquarius says, have a great day, Cam. Thank you very much. You too, my mate. Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers for watching. See you after.